Hello, everybody, and welcome to our final week here in Journalism 205 Multimedia Journalism. Holy cow, it's been quite a semester. It's been a busy semester. But over these past several weeks, my hope is that you have grown not only as a student, but also as a journalist. And I will say, based on everything that you've done over the course of this class, you have become a journalist. All right. You've been this for weeks. All right. So that's really exciting. And you've built skills and you've practiced skills that are vitally important for anyone to acquire no matter where you plan to go in this field, whether you plan to stop right now, maybe I've scared you off completely, I hope not, or you plan to continue doing some level of multimedia journalism or any kind of journalism. We'll talk about that a little bit more as we proceed with our lecture today. But again, this is the final week. So what I wanted to do is come on and give you a little Shermak FaceTime and talk to you a little bit about my thoughts and kind of reflections about this course, and share with you some ideas for looking ahead, because that's what it's always about, improving self and then looking forward to ways in which you can apply the skills we've learned in this class. So let's take a look at what's on the big show for today. We're going to answer some questions. What did we learn? We're going to talk about what's next, like I just mentioned, and take a look ahead and look at not only what we have remaining here in the semester, but also what you can expect beyond this class. So, thinking a little bit about what we learned. Journalism in the past 20 years, 20, 25 years has changed dramatically, right? You have the way that we're sharing stories has changed. You know, even in the past 20 years, we think about flipping the switch when the internet came along and how that changed newspapers. And then we had social media come along, we had cell phones come along. So the way that we view stories, the way we produce stories, so on and so forth, has changed dramatically. When I first started studying journalism in the mid 90s and started practicing journalism in the mid 90s, it's a very different game than it is today. And one of my favorite things about it is that it continues to evolve, right? There's no way of ever truly knowing everything about anything really, but especially about journalism because it changes constantly every day. And so what I try to do in this class is capture the most up-to-date skills and knowledge that you will need if you wanted to go out and practice this in real life. And I think you've attained skills and practice skills in this class that can make you um, a better news consumer, but of course, an even better news producer if that's something you choose to do. Something we thought about a lot during this class was platforms. All right. And what do I mean when I say platforms? Platforms are things like the web, social media, video, audio, and the crossover that exists there. And I think the best example of crossing over platforms is probably something you might have in front of you right now. I know I do, and that is my cell phone, right? My smartphone. This represents what's known in the industry as convergence, right? The idea that I have one device that I can do many different things with. So not only, I always joke, my least favorite app on my phone is my phone, right? The ones I use the most have nothing to do with the phone. They're music, email, texting, Instagram, all those sorts of things baked into it. So the best example that we're using multiple platforms is this device we most of us have in our hands. And that sort of uh, consumption change and technology change has brought about the changes in which we teach multimedia journalism. If you had taken multimedia journalism 30 years ago or 40 years ago, you would have been hauling around a big, huge video camera. You would have been hauling around a lot of audio equipment, big headphones, which are still pretty cool, but and all that old school equipment is cool. But now you have your phone to do that. So the convergence has arrived. And with that, it has shaped the way that we do everything, including writing. And I know that a lot of you probably didn't think you'd be getting into too much writing when it came into multimedia journalism. But in fact, you saw, I hope, that writing is still a very essential part of all this flashy, fancy multimedia journalism stuff. All right. So keep up on your writing, continue to build that writing skill. That is always going to be serviceable for you. And we talked about that quite a bit, especially even towards the end of the semester when we got into the Axios style writing, right? So that all matters, and you should continue to think about that as you move forward. We looked at a lot of different tools, and some of these tools, it was very, your course and your journey might have been a little different depending on what tools you chose to select. So this class is based on the Adobe Suite that includes Premiere, Audition, Photoshop, so on and so forth. We probably spent the most time in Premiere and Audition. Some of you have editing software that you prefer over Adobe, and I allow for that. But I give the option for that, and I mention alternatives, and there's so many alternatives out there. But while you are a student at Cuesta, you have access to this suite of software, the Adobe suite, and that saves you a lot of money. So I like to use it because it is the industry standard and you have access. So hopefully you had an opportunity to play around with it a little bit. If you didn't, that's okay. You can still learn an awful lot, not using Adobe. But now that you've had some taste of it, maybe, and you have some of these resources, think about exploring it more. I think it's a good thing to use and to build. We also talked a lot about social media, right? And social media was sort of our vehicle for our journalism. And that's really what it is. It allows journalism to get in front of more eyeballs and into more ears than, tools of the past. So I know there's a lot of folks out there because I talk to people every day about it who are resistant to social media, who are not on social media. I'm here to tell you it is not optional in this industry. You need to be on it. Even if you're creating an account that doesn't show your face on it or anything like that, that's fine. But you need to be on it. And I hope you saw that over the course of the semester. And then, as I mentioned on the previous slide, we took a deeper dive and got much more familiar, I hope, with our smartphones, right? This idea of Mojo, mobile journalism, and looking at Adornato's book, which I think is an excellent book, talking about the theory and the practicality behind using mobile phones. And I will tell you, when you go out and maybe you see a television reporter in person, reporting on a topic, a lot of them are using their phone. They're using their phones to do their stand-ups. What used to be a heavy, bulky camera, people are now using their phones because the quality is there. So I wanted to teach you something. Um, I wanted to teach you with a piece of equipment that was familiar to you, that was not as intimidating, maybe as a DSLR camera or, a high-end video camera. You can do great storytelling with a mobile phone, and I hope we prove that in this class. No matter what technologies we use, there are still some rather old school tactics and processes that really can't be replaced. And one of them, and I tell my journalism students this all the time, is talking to people, just talking to people, right? So doing original reporting, interviews, research, you can't escape that. That is journalism at its core. What you do with those interviews and that research and that talking to people from there, you can do it a lot of different ways, but it has to be involved at some point. You cannot do this job super well from behind a screen, from the comfort of your own home. You have to get out, you have to talk to people. Yes, press releases, other sources of credible information are really good, but it comes down to talking to people. And that's really the importance of this real world application that I've attempted to guide you through this entire semester. We used our student newspaper here at Cuesta, the Questonian, as a vehicle to show off some of your work. And I hope that we can show off a lot more of your work once you get in the final projects, because it's going to be your showcase piece. You have to write and produce for the public if you're going to do journalism. It's a public service. It cannot be done in a vacuum. It needs to be something you produce for an audience, period. All right. If you want to do things for not an audience, journaling, photography, whatever, that's fine. But as long as you're doing capital J journalism, you're doing it for an audience, and you should always think about that. So what is next for you? What can you think about next? You have, you will have, by the time the semester wraps up, at least 5 projects that you've done that I think are great pieces for a portfolio. And if you want to go in based on the feedback I gave you and make some fixes to those, I think that's a good idea. But portfolios are what I think anyone in any industry look for. I don't care if you're going to go apply for a job at a bank. You can still show them things you've done in this class because it shows dedication. It shows your ability to get a project done, meet deadlines, create something. It's so much more powerful to go in and say, look at what I made, rather than saying, I can make something, right? There's a difference. It's the show don't tell policy here that I'm talking about. So, going forward, find some tools where you can share this work. There's a number of different kind of easy plug and play portfolio websites. One is called Journal Portfolio. Journal Portfolio. It's one we use for the Questonian. You can check that out, or just use a LinkedIn page and post your videos up there. Let people know you can do these things. Build a portfolio and put a link on your resume. Again, it doesn't have to be for journalistic work. It can be for any kind of work. People want doers, they want makers, they want creators. You have all done that. Show it off. You've earned it. Some thinking going forward about industry trends, the way things are moving. We hear a lot about artificial intelligence. And to be very honest with you, we didn't talk about it all that much in this class. Part of that is because we have so much content to cover and so little time that it's hard to squeeze it in. I'll say this about AI. I think there's places where it can help. I think there's places where it can be an assistant. I'm choosing my words very carefully because AI, as it stands right now, is not a very good replacement. It does not replace journalism, nor should it, right? It is a partner at this point. So embrace it in a way where you form a partnership. You don't turn over your soul or all of your work over to AI, and it doesn't take over you. Defend your creativity. Be creative as a human. Don't force AI to do that for you, but learn how it can be a partner. It can help you process data. It can help you generate ideas. It can help review some of your work. There's a lot of good uses for it, but replacing humans is not one of them. And I firmly believe that. So be yourself out there. The power of video journalism and mobile journalism, you know, content we consume on our phones, is not going away anytime soon. And the direction of all content making is going towards making content that people can view on their personal devices, particularly their smartphones. So the skills you've gained, again, that's why I teach the class this way, are designed to be sort of trend proof, right? And survive the different trends that always tend to come and go. I think mobile is going to be here for a long time. Don't forget about certain niche areas of reporting, and that includes local communities. Uh, in central, excuse me, in Central California, it's a large area with a lot of people, but there's also a lot of areas that are very rural that lack reporting. Go tell those stories, right? We're near some of those areas. Find a niche that you enjoy, whether it's a hobby, a certain industry, and you can report on that. And some of that could maybe be enhanced by doing some entrepreneurial journalism. Start your own blog, start your own YouTube channel. That's the trend. It used to be, 30, 40 years ago, you needed a television station to broadcast to the world. You needed a radio station to broadcast to the world. You have that at home now. And with a couple YouTube videos and being sort of kludgy, like I talked about in our first video, um, you can make those things happen. It's much more accessible than it used to be. So think about those. If you have a message you want to share, if you want stories you want to tell, go do it. And I am here uh, to help you, even if you're long finished with this class. I love this. This is my life's work. And I'm always happy to help you, discuss things with you, kick around ideas, so on and so forth. So please don't hesitate to contact me, and I'll talk about a little bit more at the end. So, if you're interested in pursuing this as a career, there's a lot of opportunities. Local newsrooms need help. I talked about the entrepreneurial angle just a moment ago. Don't hesitate to do that. There are some internship opportunities around us. The more urban an area, the more populated an area, they're bigger markets, they have more internship opportunities. So, keep that in mind. Um, there are a lot of professional organizations out there. We belong to them as a newspaper with the Questonian um, College Media Association, Journalism Association of Community Colleges, I'm sorry, the Associated Collegiate Press. Those are all organizations you can get involved with. If you want to do that, please reach out. My best advice to you, and yeah, it's a little self-promoting, but I have no shame in doing that. Join the Questonian, join our student newspaper. 203A, Journalism 203A is more of the multimedia specific class to join. If you liked doing this and you want to continue doing it, come join us with the custodian. I'm happy to answer questions about that. We do meet on campus because we need to be here to cover our campus, but it's a great chance for you to join. And if you are outside of the bounds of Cuesta and our Central Coast, if you're elsewhere in California, there's always news outlets around where you can try to contribute. And I would urge you to do that. So let's talk a little bit about practicality, and then we will uh, bid each other adieu. So, looking ahead for this last week, there's only one thing you need to complete, and that is the final project. All right. So that final project is due on the very last day of the semester, 11:59 p.m. I give you the maximum amount of time I possibly can to turn that in. No late work accepted. That's a hard deadline. Okay. And I really mean it because I got to turn around and start grading the very next day in order to get grades in on time. So, you got to meet that deadline. And you've had this for about 3 weeks, so you should be able to do that. Um, I'm going to take a look at those projects, and then I'm going to send you an email if the project meets the standard to be published in the Questonian. And I'm hoping they will. The final projects tend to, and I'm really hoping it will. So I want to get your permission first to run it. So look for an email and please respond if you are willing to let us run it. We love having that content. It's good to diversify the contributors to the Questonian, and it's great to inform our community. So please look for that. And if you want to have your piece published and it's offered, confirm it, and we will get it up and running. I'm really excited about that. Last but not least, I just want to say thank you. It's been a real pleasure to have you in class. I think there's a real good place for having online courses, especially asynchronous courses, because they can be very convenient for folks. But one thing we do miss about it is the human side of it. And some of you, I've been able to meet in person, but some of you I have not. So if the opportunity ever comes up down the road, please stop by. I'm on campus a lot. I'm on campus right now. And so please stop by. Please stay in touch. You can reach me at any time. Email is a great way to do it. Jeremy_Shermak at Cuesta.edu. And you're also welcome to follow me on Instagram at Jeremy Shermak on Instagram. Be prepared for probably some animal pictures and all my baseball trips and all that stuff. But I don't mind at all if you follow me and connect with me there. So, once again, thank you so much. All the best for this end of the semester and going forward. I appreciate you. And just one last note, please be brave enough to tell stories. Be brave enough to shine the light on our communities and our citizens and bring stories to light. That is the power of journalism. It's an honor for me to teach it, and it's a real honor to have you in my class. Take care, everybody. Nice job this semester. Be well.